Hi, my name's Brooke Dibley and I am a speech language pathologist based in New Zealand, and I share teletherapy tips and ideas with other speech therapists. In today's video, I'm going to be answering a question I get a lot. How do you play Uno in teletherapy? But first, if you've been watching me for a while, you're going to notice my backdrop looks a bit different. Normally I have a pattern backdrop behind me, and unfortunately it fell down, and my husband is not here to help me put it back up right now. He's at work, and I really wanted to get this video filmed for you guys, so we're just going to ignore all my nail art stuff behind me and get into this video. So Uno, as many of you may know, is a card-based game that a lot of people like to play in speech therapy, But the thing is playing this game via distance is very hard, because even if you have a digital stack of cards, when you turn one over, if you're sharing your screen, everyone playing gets to see what's in your hand, and that is not ideal. So you need a platform that allows each player to have their own hand of cards that is not seen by the other players. So I'm going to show you how to set that up today. I'm going to provide you with all the files that you need. Now, please do note that I'm not going to be showing you how to play Uno in teletherapy. I'm going to be showing you how to play something very similar that your students will like, but Uno itself is a trademarked game, and it is a in-person game, and so a digital version of that, if not made by the company, cannot be called Uno because it's a trademark term. So I'm going to show you how to play a very similar game with some colored cards. And so let's get into the video and we'll talk it through. I'm going to be showing you how to set up this game room here in a website called playingcards.io. I have created the room and exported it, and all you have to do is import it and change a couple of settings and you're good to go. Each room will last for a full month, and then you just simply have to follow these instructions again if you want to keep playing with your students. I've called this game You Know. Now, one thing to point out is this is a game where down here, this area here that says click cards to flip, drag cards to move, cards placed here are only visible to you. In this area, it's exactly what it says. Any cards that are in this section are only visible to you. So there is a link that you share with your students. You share this link by hitting that share button, and your students can go to the same room, and everything that happens on this gray part is synchronized. They will see exactly what you see. But this area down here is where you put your hand of cards so that the other person can't see. Now, of course, that's something to consider for your students, because it's going to be ideal for those students that have a secondary device. So if you're doing teletherapy on a computer, then they could play this on an iPad if the family have an iPad. If they have two screens, they might be able to set that up. Of course, this is going to require a family member there to help, or the student having the tech skills to understand how to set this up. So you know the students on your caseload who could handle this, so that they have to follow a link that you could share, this share link with them in your teletherapy room, in the chat window, and they could follow the link and open up this game. Now, you could technically play it on one device, but you need to be able to trust that your student's going to move back to your teletherapy window when it's time for them to see you, if you want them to see you. It is important that when sharing this game to play that you can hear each other, so a teletherapy session is a great platform for that, because you're going to be able to hear each other through the microphones. Okay, so that is just one thing to consider, and that really is between you and your students and who you think can handle that, because they'll be playing this game on their own device, not in a window that you share. Okay, you're not sharing your screen in regard for this game. Okay, they have their own window. Okay, let me show you how to set this up. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to the website, which I've got linked below in the description, and so this is playingcards.io. This is not my website, this is someone else's website that is incredible, and there's lots of other games you can play as well in the same way that you share the room and the other person can't see, or you can, some of these you could just screen share, but just be aware that not all of these are child friendly. Okay, like Joking Hazard is not for kids. There's one on here that's similar to Cards Against Humanity, I think. So obviously if you're going to play any of these, just have a look at them first before you choose. But we're going to go down to customize, so ultra customizable, and go to custom room, and then you're just going to go start game. You're going to go enter. So this is your link now for your game that you're setting up, and it will exist for the next month if you sign up. So if you want to, you can come down here and there'll be a sign up button here. I already have a sign up, I'm signed up, and so my rooms get saved to my account, and I'll show you in a minute how to find those. Okay, so at the moment this does not look like our game, so what we need to do is we need to click this edit table button, which looks like a little bag of tools, and we're going to go to room options, and then we're going to go import from file, and this is where you will need the file in which I provided down in the description. There's a link to where you can find the file. It's hosted on my website, so follow the link and then you can hit the download button on my website and you'll be able to grab the file. So I'm going to go import from file. It's opened up my files on my other screen. For privacy reasons, I always open my files up on my other screen during videos because of course I have a lot of stuff on my computer, but I'm just going to go grab that. It's called the online game, and I'm just going to double click on that so that it gets brought in, and now here is our game. So just to repeat, what we did is we went import from file, and then it opened up our files section on our computer. I browsed and found the file. The file name ends in PCIO. That's the file type, and it's called online game, and you can download it from my website. So that's how we did that. Okay, and so now I'm going to click out, and I'm gonna click off edit table. So you just click it again, it takes us back to play mode, and now we have this set up in its basic way. Now one thing to consider is how many players. So if you only want to have 2 players, before you start you need to go delete these 2 players, because this is where their cards will get dealt to. So we go back to edit table, and all we do is we just click on here and hit remove, click on here and hit remove. Okay, now because of the way that this is set up, you now can only ever use this room for 2 players. So if sometimes you're going to want 2 players, sometimes you're going to want 3, sometimes you're going to want 4, then you might want to set up a few different rooms simply the same way. Import from file, and then save one room and call it 2 player, another room call it 3 player, another room call it 4 player, then you know which room to go into. You can rename the room, where is that? I think it's here? No, somewhere you can rename the room. I'll show you before the end of this video how to rename the room so that you know what it's called. Yeah, not there. Okay, anyway, let's get back on track. So that is how you can make it 2 player if you want to. If you want to just make it 3 player, obviously only delete the player 4 area. Okay, now we're going to close the edit table. Right, now here's how to play. So first of all, you're in a session, you need to share the room code with your student. So it's copy it to your clipboard, paste it in your chat or in an email or however you're going to share it with your students. Then they need to follow that link, and when they follow that link, it will take them to this room, okay? And they will be able, it's just you guys in that room, but obviously keep that link private if you don't want other kids joining your room. Now remember, it's just a table, there's no audio, there's no video, so it's not like Zoom, it's not like a Zoom room. It's literally that if anyone else came in on that link, if you shared it with them, then they would just show up as a player. It's not like they're going to see anyone or hear anything. You have to talk to each other in teletherapy session on a platform like Zoom or something. Okay, so it wouldn't really be that big of a deal if another student used the link later on to come in. You can, it's not going to be a privacy issue anyway. But okay, so you've shared their link. That's exclusively your link for your room, okay? That's just for you. Every time a new player sets up a room, like a new user, a new person watching this video, they will get a different link. And obviously, don't follow this link because I'm just setting it up for this video. You make your own. All right, so how to play is you hit the deal button, and it deals 7 cards. All right, so you decide who's player 1 and who's player 2. I'm player 1, so I'm going to take my cards from here, and when I bring them down here, they all turn over. Okay, so I've got mine, and then you would instruct your student to grab their cards and pull them down into their area, because this is their cards. Okay, so as they pull them down, you'll see that they're pulling, but you won't see what they get down in this area here. Okay, you will have your own hand, and then what you can do is draw your card. If you just drag it over, it's just going to look like that, and then you flip it over by clicking on it. Just so you know, I've set it up so that as you hover over a card, it gets bigger, just because I know that some of these cards down here can get you know, a bit small if on a big screen like mine, so when you hover over it, it goes bigger. If you don't like that, go to edit table, and then see here where there's that 55, right click, edit deck, scroll all the way to the bottom and hit do not enlarge. Okay, but I don't need to do that. All right, so we've got our first card, and so then you would just play the game as you normally would play the game, okay, and take turns. So obviously it's between you and the student to make sure you take turns, just like in person. This is literally just a table. It's just a virtual table. Other than dealing, nothing else is automatic. You simply have your turns. And so as your student drags something up into this space, you will see it, okay? So they need to understand that like as they drag something up into the space, you will see it. So they have to stick to what they chose, because you now see what they have in their hand. So they then go through and you can play the game. Okay, now if there's some cards you don't want in here, all right, you can go to edit table, see this 55 again, right click on it, edit deck, go to card data, and I've included all the cards in here. But if you want to remove any or add more of something, you just use these plus and minuses. So there's a gray question mark in some decks, and I know that not everyone uses that one, so I've left it on 0, but if you want to include it, you just hit the plus button and it will add it to your deck. If you want more wild cards in there, more wild draw 4s, you can do that here just by hitting the plus and the minus button, or if there's a card you don't want in the deck, you just make it 0. And now also something to consider, all these graphics here, they're being hosted on my server of my the Simply Speaking Club membership site server of the website, and I'm making this available for free. But do note that if you were to change this image to get it back again, you need to put back in that link. So please make sure that if you do decide to change an image or upload a different image, that you keep note of what was there. Otherwise you won't get access to it again, okay, because it's all linked to a URL because it's saved on my server. So that kind of what I'm providing for you here is so that you didn't have to go make all these graphics and find somewhere online to host them, and then yeah, I've done that for you. So that's how the card data is set up, but you will not need to worry about it if you're happy with just a standard deck. Okay, so we're gonna go back now to our gameplay area. Okay, so now let's have a look at how your accounts are set up, and we're going to, actually one more thing I'm going to show you. Let's go here. So you saw before that I just clicked off was a download. So that was because I'd exported to a file. So if you've set up your room, oh, here's where you change the name. There we go. Okay, so you change the name of the room here. So you could call it 2-player if you wanted to, and then just hit change, and then that will change the name of the room always. And so if we go up here, it says 2-player now, and that would also mean that in your account that's what it shows up as, but I'm going to take it back to we go 2-player, and what you can do is export it to a file or copy the room if you did make if you wanted to export it to a computer or something like that, because then in a month when your room expires you can just bring it back in again. That is if you've made any changes to the way I had it set up. Otherwise you won't really need to export it because you're just using my original export. But you can also make a copy of the room, just so you know. All right, so now let's have a look at how the accounts are set up so that you can find this game again once you've finished playing with your students. So if we hit more options, see how there's an account down here. If we go to account, see here's the game, and then here's the 2-player one that I renamed, okay? So when you have an account, you can sign into this website, playingcards.io. Again, not my website. Just so you know, I do use ad blocker on here when I am running a session, so no ads come up, but I do turn it off if I'm just browsing it or setting something up, just because I think this is such a great website that they're providing for free, that I want to just support them, because ads are obviously how they make their money. And so, but I just turn ad blocker on to get rid of ads. I don't think there's actually ads when you're playing the game in the actual game window in the room, but because I always have the ad blocker on anyway, but I do think there's normally ads that show up around here. So yeah, your rooms will be saved here in your account, and so you can come back and play them every time. You don't have to set them up, but see, it expires in 30 days. So then you will need to import a file again to play again. So I hope that you have found this helpful. I know it's not as straightforward as other games that I have shown you how to play, but for those of you who do want to play this game in Teletherapy, that is how. I've provided everything you need and the instructions. So have fun.